The digestive system, also called the gastrointestinal system, is responsible for the physical and chemical breakdown of food, so it can be taken into the bloodstream and used by the body's cells and tissues. This system consists of the alimentary canal and the accessory organs. The alimentary canal is a long muscular tube that begins at the mouth and includes the mouth, or the oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestines, large intestines, and anus. The accessory organs are the salivary glands, the tongue, teeth, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. The alimentary canal begins at the mouth and ends at the anus. The mouth, also called the buccal cavity, receives food as it enters the body. It is tasted, broken down physically by the teeth, lubricated, and partially digested by saliva and swallowed. The mouth contains teeth, which are special structures that physically break down food by chewing and grinding by a process called mastication. The tongue is a muscular organ that contains special receptors called taste buds. These allow a person to taste sweet, salty, sour, and bitter sensations. The hard palate is a bony structure that forms the roof of the mouth and separates the mouth from the nasal cavity. The soft palate is behind the hard palate and separates the mouth from the nasopharynx. The uvula, a cone-shaped muscular structure, hangs from the middle of the soft palate. It prevents food from entering the nasopharynx during swallowing. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands: parotid, sublingual, and submandibular. The salivary glands produce a liquid called saliva. Saliva lubricates the mouth during speech and chewing and moistens food so it can be swallowed easily. Saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase. Salivary amylase begins the chemical breakdown of carbohydrates, or starches, into sugars that can be taken into the body. After the food is chewed and mixed with saliva, it is called a bolus. When the bolus is swallowed, it enters the pharynx. The pharynx is a tube carrier for both air and food. It carries air to the trachea and carries food to the esophagus. When the bolus is swallowed, the epiglottis closes to prevent food from entering the respiratory tract. The esophagus is a muscular tube dorsal to the trachea. It receives the bolus from the pharynx and carries it to the stomach. Peristalsis, rhythmic wave-like involuntary movement of muscles, moves food toward the stomach. The stomach is an enlarged part of the alimentary canal. It receives food from the esophagus. The mucous membrane lining of the stomach contains folds called rugae. Rugae disappear as the stomach fills with food and expands. The pyloric sphincter keeps food in the stomach until the food is ready to enter the small intestine. Food usually sits in the stomach for 2 to 4 hours. During this time, food is converted into a semi-solid material called chyme by gastric juices produced by the glands in the stomach. Gastric juices contain hydrochloric acid and enzymes. Hydrochloric acid, which kills bacteria, facilitates iron absorption and activates the enzyme pepsin. Enzymes in the gastric juices include lipase, which starts the chemical breakdown of fats, and pepsin, which starts protein digestion, and in infants, renin, which aids in digestion of milk. When chyme leaves the stomach, it enters the small intestine. The small intestine is a coiled section of the alimentary canal about 20 feet long and 1 inch in diameter. It is divided into 3 sections: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. The jejunum is approximately 8 feet in length. It forms the middle section of the small intestine. The ileum is the final 12 feet of the small intestine. It connects with the large intestine at the cecum. When food is in the small intestine, the process of digestion is completed, and the products of digestion are absorbed into the bloodstream for use by body cells. Intestinal juices produced by the small intestine contain the enzymes maltase, sucrose, lactase, which break down sugars, peptidase, which complete digestion of proteins, and stepsin or lipase, which aid in digestion of fats. Enzymes from the pancreatic juice complete the process of digestion. These enzymes include pancreatic amylase, or amylopsin, which acts on sugars, trypsin and chymotrypsin, which act on proteins, and lipase, or stepsin, which act on fats. After food has been digested, it is absorbed into the bloodstream. The walls of the small intestine are lined with finger-like projections called the villi. The villi contain blood capillaries and lacteals. Blood capillaries absorb the digested nutrients and carry them to the liver, where they are either stored or released into general circulation for use by the body cells. Lacteals absorb most of the digested fats and carry them to the thoracic duct in the lymphatic system, which releases them into the circulatory system. When the food has completed its passage through the small intestine, only wastes, indigestible materials, and excess water remain. The large intestine is the final section of the alimentary canal. It's about 5 feet long and 2 inches in diameter. The functions are absorbing water and any remaining nutrients, storing indigestible materials before they are eliminated from the body, synthesizing and absorbing of some of the B-complex vitamins and vitamin K by bacteria present in the intestine, and transporting waste products out of the alimentary canal. The large intestine is divided into a series of connected sections. The cecum is the first section and is connected to the ileum of the small intestine. The cecum contains a small projection called vermiform appendix. The colon is the second part of the small intestine, and it has several divisions. The ascending colon continues up the right side of the body from the cecum to the lower part of the liver. The transverse colon extends across the abdomen, below the liver and stomach, and above the small intestine. The descending colon extends down the left side of the body and connects with the sigmoid colon with the rectum. The rectum is the final 6 to 8 inches of the large intestine. It's a storage area for indigestibles and wastes. It has a narrow canal called the anal canal, which opens at a hole called the anus. Fecal matter or stool, the final waste product of the digestive process, is expelled through this opening. The liver is the largest gland in the body. It's an accessory organ for the digestive system. It's located under the diaphragm and in the upper right quadrant of the abdomen. The liver secretes bile, which is used to emulsify fats in the digestive tract. Bile also makes fats water soluble, which is necessary for absorption. The liver also stores sugar in the form of glycogen. Glycogen is converted into glucose and released into the bloodstream when additional blood sugar is needed. The liver also stores iron and certain vitamins. It produces heparin and blood proteins such as fibrinogen and prothrombin. The liver detoxifies, or renders less harmful, substances such as alcohol and pesticides, and destroys bacteria that have been taken into the blood from the intestine. The gallbladder is a small muscular sac located under the liver and attached to it by connective tissue. It stores and concentrates bile, which it receives from the liver. When bile is needed to emulsify fats in the digestive tract, the gallbladder contracts and pushes the bile through the cystic duct into the common bile duct, which drains into the duodenum. The pancreas is a glandular organ and is located behind the stomach. The pancreas produces pancreatic juices, which contain enzymes to digest food. The pancreatic juices enter the duodenum through the pancreatic duct. Pancreatic amylase break down sugars, trypsin and chymotrypsin break down proteins, and lipase or stepsin act on fats. The pancreas also produces insulin, which is secreted into the bloodstream. Insulin regulates metabolism or burning of carbohydrate to convert glucose or blood sugar into energy.